Tiki Bar Funeral Home, coming soon.
What's up, good people, and welcome back to the channel today for a full house, because that's exactly what it is here. I have a special interview getting ready to kick off here right now because we are getting ready to talk to these lovely people in the cast of the new film Tiki Bar Funeral Home. You read it. That's exactly what it is. I am joined by Amy, Christine, Danielle, and Will. Hello, everybody. How you doing today?
Good.
Hi.
Happy to be here.
Listen, the name Tiki Bar Funeral Home is so much to talk about. And I think the first time I saw the title of the film, I didn't care what the synopsis was. I didn't care who was involved, but I had questions. So clearly I had to check this out. This film did make its world premiere at Dances with Films, DWF Film Festival. Congratulations on that. And with short films, folks, got to keep an eye out. We're going to get all the questions answered here, but you got to keep an eye out here because with short films, if you haven't checked it at this film festival, keep an eye out for upcoming film festivals, which we'll talk about that. And then obviously the direction of where the project is going to go. So we have a lot to cover. And before we even get to that, the red carpet here, people, I got questions. Everyone was looking so stylish. And I have to give you all the opportunity to talk about the fashion, whether you want to give shout outs to anybody that may have styled you or you want to give a shout out to what you were wearing. But I mean, you absolutely killed it, and complete FOMO because I wish I was there in person to see it. But nonetheless, the pictures suffice. You all look beautiful, amazing, full of energy, and as you should for your world premiere of your new film. So starting off with you, Christine, if you want to get in there, talk about what you were wearing.
Okay, listen, I was coming in with bundles with a beat face. Like I was doing the most. But you know what? Here's the thing. For all my girlies out there or they bees, anybody, I was wearing a dress from Birdie Gray. It's a site. I think they're based in China. The dresses are like $100.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm balling on a budget. I'm not going to wear no Givenchy or anything like that. So yeah, no, Birdie Gray, but the bundles were real. Those bundles came in. Okay. We sold them ourselves.
I wore a Birdie Gray dress in a wedding once.
Oh yeah, that's what they do. They do like bridesmaids dresses and stuff.
Very cute. Okay, that's why I may have recognized it.
Chiffon all the way, baby.
Stunning. And your makeup, stunning, Christine. Yeah, you looked fantastic.
You looked gorgeous.
But you know what? I'm not coming in with any how do you say it? Givenchy, okay. Either because I rent all my stuff. So the things that I was wearing all week were actually from Newly. And it's $100 a month. You get 6 pieces and you wear them, you get photographed in them, and then they go goodbye. And it's very sustainable and I love it. But I do want to shout out my friend Ashley Gianni. She has been styling for a lot of different red carpets recently. She's absolutely fantastic. She's also an actor producer and wears many hats as we all do. But one of them is she does wardrobe styling. So thank you, Ash.
Danielle, I do think you need to be like on the PR team for Newly though, because I feel
I am influencing, and yes, I need like a code. I need something.
If anything, just the model for them because I was like, girl, you look fire. Like, oh my gosh.
Thank you.
How about you, Amy or Will? What did you get in here?
Okay, well, what did I actually? My dress was from Revolve. It was a recycle. If you look at my grid, I've worn it before. I styled it a little bit differently this time. I chose some boots because I got to be honest, I like to be comfortable these days. I really do. And the higher the heel, the more I struggle. So that's where I went with that. My opening night look, also by moi. I am not a stylist. I probably need to work with one, but I have fun doing it. So that's that. I don't, my other look was Les Amazons, which is
frequent there.
Code for Amazon. I'm also balling on a budget, but I do want to shout out the pants that I wore on the premiere night were from a female-owned boutique in Los Angeles called Library in the Larchmont Village area. I absolutely love their selections, and they have a fabulous sale all the time. They have like a secret sale room in the back. So if you're in LA, go check them out.
All right.
I gotta go. I gotta go there right now.
Go right now.
Really?
I'll see you later.
Amazing. Thanks for the hot tip.
Yeah.
And last but not least,
Oh man, I wore a suit that I have literally worn for years. A friend of mine, Diane, gave it to me for a shoot years ago. It fits great, and same as Amy. If you look at pictures, I've worn it before, but I wore the same thing for opening night that I wore for our premiere. I just tried to style it up a little bit different.
yeah,
But you know, a good suit, if it fits right, you don't have to think about it too much.
that
So,
is right.
Yeah,
That's
I just
true.
went with a classic.
Yeah.
Shout out
We're-
to Diane though for the suit. It's a
Oh.
it's a good one.
I would say we're very sustainable over here in our fashion. So good job, team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And collectively, you all killed it. So that's all that matters. Want to make sure we gave the right people their love and so on before we get into the nitty gritty of things. And I'm coming back to you, Amy. You know, as Danielle just mentioned, as you all frequently do in the project, you wear multiple hats, and in this one, you are the writer, director, producer, and also a star in it. And I do mean this in a very nice, polite way because I definitely enjoy your character in Gen A. But what in the world would make you want to do the trifecta here and being, shall I say, this loon person and just being all over here? What made you want to embrace this challenge? I think a lot of folks do. Folks who consume films do see names attached to all different roles, but truly the responsibility. This is your project here. And if you did all this behind the camera, but then you have to step in front of the camera too. What was just the, shall I say, the mental build to want to do so, and then ultimately sort of the feeling once you completed it?
Sure. So thank you for asking that question. I started as an actor and only got into producing and then later writing and directing because of performance. And I found my footing in production. I've worked full time as a line producer over the years, and I just never want to get to a point where I forget why I entered into this business in the first place. So my first film was actually a story about my journey into the sport of boxing. I acted in that one as well, but I was in every single frame of that film. Like there's literally not one shot of me. So I knew coming into this project, if I was going to take a role, it had to be something small. And I really love character acting. Like I really, really love character acting. I even feel like, you know, when we get the chance to do the longer version of Tiki, if I could push Gen A even further, I will. I admire, you know, women like Adrienne Shelley as filmmakers. She also used to put herself in supporting roles. I would say this one was a little bit of a challenge. There was like a point when I was shot listing where I was like, oh yeah, this is a fucking party. Like if I'm going to be in this film, I have to be everywhere in this film, right? Like it's very challenging to have people like not in the background. So that first scene where Adrianna comes into the bar and you see my character and the character Gen E played by Angelina Ramirez. There was a moment where we like speeded off to the back and then the shot goes behind the bar and you see Adrianna and Damon. And I was like, shit, we have to craft something that gets me out of the back shot. So that's where the Tom Selleck joke came from. And that extra is actually my husband. So shout out to my husband, Daniel, for fulfilling that role. And I would say, you know, this time around, it felt really good, but I do feel like, you know, I want to try other configurations of what it means to be a multi-hyphenate in filmmaking. You know, maybe I write something that I perform in that I pass off the directing torch. You know, how can I keep stretching those muscles and exercising what the interpersonal working relationships need to be when you're balancing all those things? So that's kind of what I took away from it. And going forward, I'm not gonna say like I'm never gonna do that again. Because you know that's not the point, right? I want to keep trying to do different things, different configurations of multi-hyphenate creator life, because you know, as the Duplass brothers like to say, the Calgary is not coming.
That's so legit.
Very legit. You got to keep making your own stuff.
Oh man. Well said. And yeah, again, congratulations to this. And you know, it takes a certain will to do what you did here. And so much more work to be done. Going back to DWF, again, you had your world premiere here, and you got the experience with the fans. And I would love for everybody, and we'll start with you, Will. Just overall, how was your experience at this festival, and what was your emotions upon watching this with the audience?
Oh man, it couldn't have been better. I mean, it's an incredible festival, bar none, hands down. Everyone there, and I think all my castmates feel the same way. I don't want to speak for everyone, but we had an amazing experience. It's an incredible community of people, and the people that run the festival are just really passionate about filmmaking in its purest form, and that's really exciting when we have this kind of thing that sometimes feels like a big machine. And of course, you know, going and doing the thing of acting and collaborating with your fellow artists is the most enjoyable thing. And I often honestly get quite nervous to go sit and watch, but it was really enjoyable. And I think, you know, Amy, to her credit, she just killed it all around.
Yeah.
And so did everyone did. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun, a lot of community.
Will was like Mr. Dances with Films, by the way. I think he met everybody there.
If I ever felt nervous, I would run over to Will because I'm like, oh, he knows everybody. I'm just going to stand by him, and he's tall, so I could just stand behind him. I'm like, cool. If I'm nervous, I can just hide behind Will's shoulder.
Along with that question too, and we'll come to you, Danielle. Any funny stories or any memorable moments from the weekend for you?
Yes. So many, some that I can remember, some that I can't. Just kidding. No, I say that because I was so exhausted in the most blissful way. You know, that's what happens at these events. It's like you continually have to rally for the next thing, but then the experiences that you have when you do it are so worthwhile. I would say our opening night. Like Will, you were saying, you know, I get nervous as well sometimes watching myself and things. And I really just decided to take a step back on opening night and just say, you know what, I'm going to be a spectator. I'm going to enjoy this. And I loved all the shorts that were in our block. I thought they were just so strong, and the storytelling was so amazing. And I got to kind of look at Tiki Bar from that perspective. And I was so dang impressed, and I was laughing, and I was with the characters. And so that moment for me was very special. It was one of the first times I removed myself as a part of the process to watch. And then after, we went to the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Amy and I had a full glam photo shoot by the pool. And then when I thought I was about to go home, we decided, you know what, let's actually go up to one of the oldest bowling alleys in LA, or maybe, I don't know, it could be one of the oldest bowling alleys in America.
Could be.
And get another round of cocktails and bowl on this vintage alley. And so that was a very, very fun time. And that felt like the bonding and fun times with the cast that over the last few years with COVID, you might not have gotten. Because a lot of times on set, you wear your mask, you do your scene, you go back into your area. That's how it's been for the last 3 years. So getting to really just enjoy and celebrate everyone in that fun way was a lot for me. That was fantastic. So, you know, no juicy gossip, no tea to spill. However, really wholesome fun.
And listen, I mean, it's literally TMZ I was looking for here. I wanted the dirt, you know.
Ooh, yeah.
I forgot to tell you, I was like incognito here. I didn't want y'all to know. Christine, how about you? And also, I wanted to add another thing to your point too is, and we also take for granted too that, you know, film festivals have been virtual. So to get the full package here, you know, being with your cast members, getting the red carpet, getting to mingle with folks, making it intimate, being able to see people's actual expressions and emotions. I mean, this is back to normal. And then again, I think, you know, beyond how good the film is going to do, being able to really truly see reactions of folks, I think is already worth all of the work that you all have done. Christine, given to you now, any moments from this world premiere or after at this point?
Yeah,
You
no,
wanna
I'll
share?
just like that's honestly like that's what was so hot on my head was like going there. I definitely took like several moments to just kind of be like, duh, there's people around because like
Yep.
ever since COVID, like there was a long time where like you had a COVID safety person be like, stand over there, don't touch anybody, stop breathing, which for good reason. Like don't breathe, not during COVID. Wait a couple years. But like I think the most special thing for me was I brought a dear friend of mine named Morla but it was really cool to have like my friend, but like also all my other friends in the cast. We all sat together in the theater, and it was so special to like just hear laughs and see and hear all these reactions like from the audience. There were so many times that I'd be watching the film and I'd be like, what's happening? Oh, she's laughing at that. Oh, I didn't think I'd get a laugh on that. And so it was, I think that was the most special for me because you don't always get to see your thing in that big medium, especially nowadays. I think sometimes the theater business can be a little crazy, the movie theater business. So like you don't always get to see it like that. So that was really special.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, we had a sold out audience.
Yeah, she
We
was packed.
did. We had a sold out audience. We sure did.
There it is. Amy, I along with the same question too, but I'm going to start the next question with you. Any moments that you also want to share about your experience that night, and then we're going to play connect the dots because we need to know how everybody met each other, and I'm sure this starts with you.
Yeah. I think for me, just overall at the festival, it was a really good reminder of how much I love this team behind this project and how, what keeps me coming back to making films are the people and the potential people that you can meet. And I specific to that night, but also like the whole week of being able to like, we had like a text chain going with like our entire group and just hearing what everyone else was up to and trying to connect with each other, in the floor, on the lobby. Of course, meeting other filmmakers is always great and lovely, but I really just enjoyed the general time of like being able to hang out with everybody because it's like being back on set, and set is so much fun to be on. So that really stood out for me. I had a different experience watching it, only that I separated my body and from my physical body from like my mental body. And I get very nervous watching my work as well. It's really tough, but I was very pleased and not surprised to hear a lot of laughter.
Yeah. Okay, folks. So we'll start with Christine here. Who and how did you meet Will?
I met Will on set, and actually this is a very funny story because our DIT Kyle, guys, remember this? Our DIT Kyle was standing in like a tiki bar funeral home. There's all these floral shirts and stuff. So I get on set the first day, and Kyle is facing the other way doing DIT stuff. And I walk up and I'm like, Will, hi, I've heard so much about you. I'm going to give you a hug. Oh my God. And he was like, yo, I'm Kyle. And I was like, oh, okay, bye. And then like hours later, I think I had already shot something. And Will came up to me. He's like, it's so nice to meet you. And I was like, oh, you're Will. Hi. It's for you this time. Will is so nice though. Like, but yeah, I met him on set. And honestly, we had so much bonding time. Like, me, Danielle, and Will, during a lot of those wait times where they're turning the shot around or whatever, we all sat on the hospital bed and we just like, oh, girl, to hit the mic. Good night. Okay. We had so much time bonding, just sitting on the hospital bed, talking about our lives, where we live, how we got where we are now. And it was so cool. I think I've been on sets where it can feel very tokenized. Like, oh, we got the Black trans woman check, which, by the way, 5 years ago, they weren't even looking for us. So, we're making progress. But here, that didn't matter. I was just there with friends and we were making things and being creative. And it was so nice to just be able to like breathe and feel safe. So that's how I met Will.
That is awesome. And definitely shout out to all of you all for creating a safe atmosphere on set. Again, these are things that people think are norms, but truly aren't. And it's good to hear a success story before the film was even done. So you know, that I think that's going to speak to your resume, Amy, and future projects, and folks will to want to be a part of your project. So, you know, let's make sure we echo that loud, that there's a safe space created
Thank
here.
you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure.
No, seriously, 100%. That set was safe, equitable, kind, compassionate. It was such a wonderful, safe space. I never once. It was great. I told Amy several times while she was doing 10 million things, I was like, yo, by the way, girl, it's great here. Okay, bye. And like, she was running around doing all these millions of things. Like, you want okay, not right now.
I will say one time, Christine, we did get scolded once or twice from Jacqueline for talking too much.
That's true.
Yeah.
Just
Jacqueline,
in
the first
corner.
AD.
She was our first AD.
I-
Yeah, but it's because Christine and I have known each other for 10 years.
I would say we've known each other for over a decade. So anytime we see each other, we're calling each other booby and cackling in the corner. So
we had a rehearsal between Christine and Danielle leading up to like filming, which I had a great time, by the way. And it was like an hour into rehearsal and we hadn't started rehearsing yet. Like, three of us were just chit chatting.
But that rehearsal was the birth of the handshake.
It was. We did get a lot of work done. We did. And shout out to Jacqueline and Timothy Reese, by the way, for being a fantastic AD unit. We did get a few emails from our extras following wrap that they felt seen and heard on set for once. Like people were using names, proper pronouns, and I lost my earbud. And that, I think that matters a lot, especially to extras when they can, they really make their bread and butter not working on short films. So once they enter these bigger sets and there's just a different kind of cadence going on, a lot of people are like, yo, guy in the blue shirt, guy in the green shirt, lady with the bag, I don't know. Yeah.
Coming to you, Will, and let's see, who am I going to pick on here? Yeah, let's go to Amy. How did you and when did you meet Amy?
I met Amy in the audition process, and when I got a hold of this script, it came to me. Producer saw something that I had worked on and was like, "Hey, I think that you might resonate with this. Do an audition." And some friends helped me lay down a tape, and then luckily they liked it, and she was like, "Hey, will you come in and read again?" And so when I went in to read again, Danielle was also there, and that's when I met Danielle. And to kind of continue to echo this theme, when I went in to meet everyone, I just felt like there was a really safe space to create, and it was a true collaboration. Even when I met Amy and went in for the callback, and so like from that point forward, from reading the script, it just resonated with the humanness that she wove into the writing so much. This kind of, Amy and I talked a lot about trauma and things like that, and how that can shape someone's life. And there were some of these themes that she so delicately wrote into the script that I just resonated with. And when I went in to read, that was very present in her impetus for making this thing truly underneath the comedy and the beauty that comes out of sadness and these things that all of us as humans struggle with on a daily basis. But that's how I met Amy at the callback, and it was just like, all right, let's just play. And that's not always the case, auditioning is tough. And so to go in and be welcomed with that kind of energy and that kind of space, and that just preceded itself and continued on set. So it's a really beautiful and wonderful experience when you can have that, because it just creates room to play,
All right, I'm building a time machine. I'm going back. I'm coming on set. That's it. I had enough of this. Too much good vibes for me to have missed out on. All right, Danielle. And how did you meet Christine?
Oh, how did that? Oh, now my microphone's having the issue.
I know. I'm sorry. I cursed you. I saw
I met Christine. Was it through Shane, Christine?
I think no, you introduced me to Shane. I met you through, oh gosh, we're gonna throw back here. Broadway producer Julie Boardman.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Who's
Imagine-
wonderful. Hi, Julie. I love you.
Julie's a Broadway producer. She's fantastic.
She's amazing.
So let's see, what year is it now? 2023. I guess we met. I'd have to look. I guess it was 2013, right?
2013 or 14. But I think 2013,
14.
which is
yeah. And so Christine and I were both working as brand ambassadors for many different brands, like
so many
virtual reality brands and hotels and just random things that you do when you are a multi-hyphenate creative in the early 10s, the early 2010s, and in New York City. And yeah, we'd worked a couple things together, and I believe that we had a conversation about how you were wanting to get into film more. And I think it was like, well, wait, we need a PA for this web series I'm doing. I think that was it.
Yeah, and a location manager.
Yeah, so Christine found our location, did craft services, legit, like everything. And I was like, wait, what? Excuse me, what? Okay, so you're more like a production manager, you know, it was her first film job. So was it your first film job?
I mean, pretty close. It's far enough now that it all kind of blurs together.
Yeah.
What web series was this?
It was called So Then Tell Me. And
I like that title.
Yeah, it was really fun. You know, it was a 2010s style thing.
Oh yeah.
Seinfeld, but a little bit more offensive. It's really tongue-in-cheek, really fun. It's not able to view anywhere except a clip on my reel. So go check out my reel. But okay, Christine, I remember we had a step and repeat at the premiere, and one of the people who gave us a lot of money to be on the step and repeat and pay for some post-production was a cannabis and weed company. And so there are little like pot flowers all over our step and repeat. And this was 10 years ago. It was not legal. Okay?
Yeah.
So hysterical. I'm like, well, we got to take it where we can, you know.
I was like, oh, Danielle, I want a picture next to the weed board over there. Come on, let's go.
No, seriously, hysterical. So, but and then we've just stayed in touch ever since. And then, you know, now we're both West Coast, and it's when I saw the breakdown for the role of Rene in Tiki Bar, I immediately thought of her, and I was like, okay, we're getting an audition. And then it all was meant to be. It all worked out.
See, and I saw this, and I wanted to spend a lot of time on this, is because one of the biggest things in this film in such a short runtime, and let me actually get that runtime exactly up real quick. It is 13.5 minutes. There's a lot of heart in the film, and the relationships in the film, and although we have a featured couple that this is about, the relationships across the board feel so organic, and that's not something you get even with supporting characters often. I just finished the film festival, and I just watched close to 30 films, and I'm telling you that our leads do it, you know, and maybe a supporting to the leads, but not just all of the characters. You know, every single pocket you look, you see characters, you're like, oh, and this is, as Danielle knows, and I do mean this in the most positive way, I hate short films because now I'm stuck in this area of, when am I getting more? You know, I want to see more of Adrianna and Rene. Obviously, I want to see the dreamy Damon and Adrianna. I want to know more about this story. And then the gens are like, okay, like, yeah, you see there a lot of energy and charisma coming from there, but like, was it always like that? I'm getting Mean Girls personalities here. That's the story in his own. I'm just stuck here coming up with all these different scenarios in my head, just to realize that if I go watch it again, I'm going to see the same story, because I need more, which is a good problem to have, obviously. And I think this is why it's the environment, the culture you built on set, pre-historian friendships beforehand, and then obviously bonds of friendship and family created all while during filming. And I think, you know, the audience is truly going to see that as well. So with that, it's time to put you on the hot seat, because we have to know, how in the world did you come up with a tiki bar funeral home? Every single time I read it, I said, am I reading that right? Tiki Bar Funeral Home. Like, and before you even tell me how you came up with this idea, does this exist somewhere, or has this existed anywhere? I need to know here.
So yes and no. I will say when I was hoping to make this film in like 2019. I started putting some of the pieces together. Obviously the world fell apart, but I was living in New York in 2019, and I was talking with some colleagues at Comedy Central about this film, which was very different at the time. Actually, it took another year or so to get to the iteration of what you see on screen now. But we had found a funeral home in Brooklyn that was a disco themed funeral home. And so I was like, yeah, I could maybe make a disco bar funeral home. Like that's kind of funny too. But Tiki Bar Funeral Home is actually based on a real funeral home where I grew up in the town of Pequannock, New Jersey, which is where I am right now, actually visiting my folks. And it was a family owned and operated funeral home. It still is to this day. And they had some unruly teenagers, like most of us were in the late 90s, early 2000s growing up in this town. And they built a tiki bar in their backyard, which was like right next to the door to the morgue. So over time, when they would have parties, we would just say to each other, oh, we're going to the tiki bar at the funeral home. Coincidentally, my first date with my husband, his roommate from college grew up in the same town I grew up, which is very bizarre because I met him in Boston. And he, on our first date, was like, oh, you're from Pequannock? I've been to that weird tiki bar at the funeral home. And the story, it wasn't just so much inspired by like the experiences of partying there. It was also really, truly inspired by this idea of reuniting at funerals, because unfortunately, those unruly party days resulted in a lot of people from where I grew up having a lot of problems. Many of them are no longer with us, including my friend that I dedicated to this film to, who George is like loosely inspired by, although we never had a romantic, relationship. So it's this sort of like cyclical nature plays. And yeah, I warned you, this film is inspired by some really sad stuff. Yeah. So it is like a real place, but it's there's no funeral home in which you can have a tiki themed funeral. I'm sure they would welcome you to come in with your own props though, if you wanted to.
Yeah, everything has to be questioned at this point now.
Yeah.
Traditional funerals are yesterday. This is the future.
If you watched the show Search Party, which I love so much, I have to give a little shout out because there's some comedy in this film that I was really inspired by my time like binging that show. There is a funeral scene for one of the characters, spoiler alert, where the lead character shows up and she's expecting like everyone to be as miserable as the person who's deceased is, and she gets there and it's Hawaiian themed, and he loved the beach so much, and like it blew my mind when I saw that, because we had already filmed we'd already written this. We didn't film it yet. We had already written this, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not the only one. So yeah, that's kind of the long-winded answer to Tiki Bar Funeral Home. And you'd be shocked, a lot of people do have problems pronouncing it for some reason, or remembering all 4 words I've found out, which is just heartbreaking to me. But
it's like a fun word cloud, unexpectedly.
Yeah. Tiki Funeral Bar Home.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, wait, I've heard of that thing. I want to see that, because the name is pretty memorable.
The name is pretty memorable. I think it's just when people are speaking like quickly in the moment, they kind of get tongue-tied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people would just be like, because a lot of people have the cards with our poster. It'd be, you're this.
Yeah.
Colors and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like, that's a really good poster.
Yes, shout out to Haley Kim who designed it. She did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. All the promotional stuff is amazing. Trailer too really gets you. And I'm going to talk about something that I'm gonna leave this whole thought complete. Before I ask, was there ever any other options on the table for the title of this film?
No. The title was always Tiki Bar Funeral Home. Yeah. The iterations prior to this were really kind of focused on the idea of a reunion, kind of focused on the love story. And as I kept leaning into like not just what I was writing, but also how I wanted to make it. And thinking back about all the nostalgic films that I love from like the late 90s, early 2000s, especially those like high school films that are so stereotypical in characters, which was a really hard line to like dance when you also want to be equitable.
Yeah.
And I realized over time that like the love story in this is really kind of like the red herring, if you will, right? Like that's not really Adrianna's like journey in the whole thing. So, but no other titles.
Okay.
This was it.
So let me give you all some news real quick. Just about a week ago, Cleveland decided that the popular street East 99 was going to be renamed to and after the very popular group Bone Thugs and Harmony. I'm just wondering,
So cool.
just wondering, I mean, because the promotion of this film is kind of insane, you know?
Yeah.
How and first of all, when I saw the trailer, and like obviously I grew up listening to Bone Thugs, I was like, wait, did I hear that right? I kept thinking like, how is this going to work? How is this going to fit? Whoever wants to speak here, who idea was it to say, yeah, we got the perfect song for this, right? let's make things as awkward as we can in here, but also what a classic, what a hit. What was the thought process behind dropping this gem in the end of this film?
I love Bone Thugs too. This was all me. So I originally wrote the script with a different song that was kind of funny, but like didn't get the same, and I wasn't sold on it. And then I started I worked with a music supervisor leading up to filming because we needed to make sure we could clear something so that we could also play it in the moment and like have the right beats, because I can't stand when things don't seem to match like that, you know? So as I was going through and I was making a list, I knew I wanted it to be from a very specific era. And I'm a huge hip hop R&B fan. That's like literally all I listened to growing up. And I had some songs that were out of that genre, but like, you know, Casey and JoJo was on that list. Like there were like a couple. And I somehow just in my like deep, like going down YouTube and like hyper clicking on like what everything was prompting me, I was like, oh yeah, this song was huge. And also it was like, it did get played at my 6th and 7th grade dances, which is so weird. Like it's, you know, like we mistaken it like when we were kids for a slow song. And I was like, isn't that hilarious that like 2 7th graders would be like, this is our song. And it's like, it's about so many things that are not that, right? And so, yeah, our music supervisor, Pamela Quaddy, definitely work with her because she got the rights. Finally, took a while, but we are very grateful that we have them, because I don't think any other song, once I landed on that one, I was like, there is no backup. Like there just is none. In fact, our sound mixer, Jeremy Eisner, told us that this is such a sad story. I don't know why I chuckled. A young kid in his like 6th grade class passed away, and the principal took it upon themselves to like do a memory announcement over the loudspeaker around the whole school and then played that song.
We're absolutely from the same era. We're from the same era.
Well, now we know what we'll be playing at your funeral, Amy. Many years.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So bizarre. And you know what's really sad is that like there's some folks in the Gen Z era that don't know that song.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the
I know
sad
it really.
part of the story.
That's so sad. But yes, that is and I gotta be honest, it got a huge laugh, and that made me really happy.
It did. And people at the festival, like it was kind of like the cherry on top when people would be talking to me afterwards about the film, and they'd be like, and Bone Thugs, like, did you really get the rights for that? I'm like, yeah, of course we did. Like we went all the way, you know?
Yeah. One thing is, you don't want to make a film. You don't want to go broke making a film just to go broke because you made the film, because you know they come knocking at your door now. You get things cleared there. So, glad it worked out, because what an icing of the cake to end the short here.
I have to shout out Christine's dance too. At the end, she's like, at first she's like, really this song, and then Rene is just into it. You know,
That was so fun doing because Amy was like, just roll, and she just played the song, and I was just like, okay, like, yeah. But I remember asking Amy, I was like, oh, it's like this song. What are you gonna play? And you were like, no, we're playing this, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Pleasant surprise, to be very honest. I was so stoked.
I have a really sick sense of humor. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Now the real question is, and we're not going to have time for it, but was anybody on set trying to spit some crazy bone lyrics here? Was anybody that nice?
Danielle, all Danielle.
No. If you had played like a Blackstreet song, I definitely would have. But I don't know the lyrics to Crossroads as well.
Yeah. People gonna be asking now. You know, you touch a bone to a song, they want to be like, okay, can you rap it?
I could probably like murmur it.
Yeah, I can't even fake it.
Remember it.
Even reading, even if I was reading the lyrics, it just wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work. So brings me up to my couple of last questions we got here. This is a family affair, as we established with the cast here, but there are obviously folks missing. Is there anybody, and we can start with you, Will, is there anybody else part of this cast or crew you would love to give them their flowers?
Oh man, that's a tough question. Our wonderful producer, Alethea D'Angelo, she helmed this thing along with Amy and was amazing on set. And that's a tough question, man. Everybody was really incredible. I mean, Angelina Ramirez is not here right now, and she's like such a bright, wonderful energy as well. And she was there just hitting it during Dances with Films too. Along with all of us. And I mean, our Jeremy Eisner, like Amy said, our wonderful sound mixer. I feel like he was on set with sound the whole entire time. There's too many people, I can't list everyone.
Don't worry, they got your back.
Yeah. When you make these kind of indie things, sometimes on set it's really difficult to make a set so hospitable and like with nice food and all these things and keep it under budget. And we really did have that. And that's so much credit to Amy and Danielle and Alethea and their leadership in this thing. It's hard to do. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair warning. No one can talk about the cinematographer. I'm saving that one for you, Amy.
Okay.
All right, Christine, how about you?
Oh, Will, you were so right. That's a hard question. I was like, oh, the pressure's on you. Oh, now it's me. No, well, our makeup artist, Alina, she's amazing. I love her. I've known her back in the day. We used to work at Equinox together. Woo woo.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So when I got there, I was like, girl, beat my face. She was awesome. And then also, I'm going to shout out Danielle. I don't know if I'm stealing this from you, so sorry if I am, but I'm going to shout out Timothy. He's awesome. And he did a really good job of something I've never seen before. He really did do a good job of making sure to use correct pronouns for people, asking people how they like to be referred, using their names. I know it was mentioned earlier, but like I did, I remember doing things all the way back, like when I did extra stuff in like the 90s. And I remember that never, I mean, it still doesn't happen. And so it's just really nice it's just such a huge sign of respect to ask somebody how they want to be referred, who they are, and how you should talk to them. I think that's huge. And he did amazingly with that.
He's going to appreciate that so much.
On you, Dan.
Okay. I just need to take a moment for Jeannie Taylor, who played Kathy. She was an amazing scene partner. She genuinely made me terrified as George's mom. And she, Nigeria, this is one of the moments where you would have wished you were on set, because she was up there doing those monologues and just rolling and just changing it up and up there in front of a packed room of background actors and crew, and just such a pro. It was really hard for me to keep a straight face with her. She's just brilliant. So just so grateful that Amy, you found her, we cast her. Like, oh,
we casted her immediately. That woman she auditioned in the exact outfit that I ended up having her wear.
The wig and
for the film, the wig and everything. She just knew exactly what I wanted. We had so many, and acting is hard, and I do it too. So I don't want to, say anything specific about anyone's interpretation, but playing the tone of this character in the tone of the piece, without it being melodramatic or too over the top, was hard to find, and Jeannie just nailed it. And that the speech that she gives at the end, I mean, god damn, there was so much we had to cut out, and we had to cut out a lot too, because it's like it's that dual conversation moment that's happening in this space. So, but
she got such a big laugh though when she was like, "Remember when you guys were on the roof?" Oh, I mean,
yeah.
And
I said, "Come down."
And I said, "Come down."
There were times where we were filming her coverage, and Danielle and I had to leave the room because we just kept laughing. I was like, I can't stand here because I'm ruining the shot, because we're just cackling in the back. She could have done that 20 times and made you laugh every single time. She's incredible.
So brilliant. And so, yeah, definitely Jeannie. I mean, the three people on this call, it goes without saying, like, just unbelievable collaborators. And then I also really, I will shout out the AD team of Jacqueline and Timothy. And also I really felt supported by Maddie, our first AC, and B, our script supervisor. They were so helpful. My goal on every set is to never have a scriptie talk to me, because I'm like, continuity. But like the times that we did have to talk, she was just so incredibly gracious and on her stuff. And I was going to shout out Lucas too, but I'll let you do that, Amy.
Sure. I'll shout out Lucas.
Yeah, and I wanted to save the cinematographer for you, because you did mention about how you needed to work a scene pretty early in the film and moving Gen A and Gen E out of the background, and that scene is shot really, really beautifully. The dynamic and even the drama here, from the moment, say Danielle, but the moment Adrianna grabs her drink, you get to zoom in, and then you zoom to the back and see the Jen. So you're kind of feeling the energy from what's happening in the background, but you're obviously feeling the stakes of what's happening at the bar, and also you're feeling the emotions and sort of the anxiety that Adrianna is experiencing. I think if you muted that entire thing, you still get all of that. And I think that does have a lot to do with the acting, of course, but obviously the cinematography really taking you on that adventure. So yeah, I figure I'll save them for you. So tell me about it.
Yeah, so Lucas Alvarado Ferrar is a very dear friend of mine. He and I worked at a terrible production company in New York City. I'll just say that they were awful. And so we commiserated together, and misery does love company. We bonded. We had been looking for something to work on together for a really long time. Lucas comes from a background in documentary as well as music videos, wanted to get into more scripted work. I don't want to say that this was his first scripted venture, but it's like very early in his scripted career. And we planned. I mean, we scouted, we moved around. There was so much more we really wanted to do too that we did not have time to do, which is, par for the course, especially in an ensemble piece like this one. But he's got such a unique eye. Like it was really hard. Again, like I said, I had given him a bunch of examples, and he was like, none of these are comedies. And I was like, I know, I'm trying to like push the envelope a little bit. And he was like, okay. Like, we're going to do it. Kind of the biggest comp that I presented to him was the film, Peggy Sue Got Married. It's a Coppola film. It's so weird and also darling. If you've never seen it, please watch it. It's Kathleen Turner in her like finest hour ever, with Nicolas Cage as well. Oh, I love it so much. but yeah, we wanted to create this, because the film isn't really based in reality, right?
Okay.
Like, I don't think we're ever going to somebody's celebration of life where they're gonna like pass at the moment. If we do, then sign me up. I want to be there to make the documentary version of this. But the so to create something that had this sort of like very pop driven jewel tone, pushing the envelope with what comedy can look like, because you watch a lot of comedies, they're very high key and they have to be for a reason. Because this one is absurdist, we were able to like play, and Lucas is just a darling. I hope that more people get to work with him. I hope I get to work with him again. He unfortunately was in either Columbia or New York during our premiere, so he couldn't be there. But yes, shout out to Lucas. All the flowers there, all the flowers, and just also what a very conscious gentleman of his space that he takes up and the space that he needs to give to others too.
Yeah. All right, Amy. All right, you take a back seat here. We'll come back to you for the final question. I definitely want to also give everybody a chance to spotlight other projects that may be coming down the pipeline. Obviously, we don't want anybody to get in trouble here. So, Will, if there's anything that you're currently working on, and actually, I know you do, so I will give you an opportunity to make sure you talk about a particular thing that I see folks were already talking about here. But if you can share just a little bit about American Desert.
Oh yeah. Man, that's a feature that I did with Ruby Modine and Michael Ironside. And it is about a veteran returning from combat during 2010, during the last recession, when the VA was over medicating everyone with narcotics and there wasn't a lot of ability for talk therapy. And as we know now, that causes PTSD to just explode exponentially and doesn't allow the brain to rest and heal. And luckily, there's a lot more conscientiousness around that and support around it now. But that project, it talks about toxic love, and it talks about the coming back from war and a young man's journey to find his own identity after missing such a crucial period in his life, and what that looks like. And it's written and directed by Adrian Bartol, and it was a bootstrapped indie, and everyone brought their heart to it. So,
okay,
yeah.
Looking forward to that.
I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'm getting my popcorn.
Christine, as I know, you are and have been making tremendous strides in the voice acting world. Not that that's the only thing I want to spotlight, but if there is things you can't talk about, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I got a couple things. I think what I would love to shout out right now is Thirsty Suitors. It is coming November 2nd from Outer Loop Games and Annapurna Interactive. Shout out to my co-star, Farah. I love you, Farah. And also Eka, who's the main developer. I mean, he's very amazing. Thirsty Suitors is this beautiful adventure game with romance and fighting and comedy and drama, and the story. I mean, if you know me, I love video games so much. That's what I do in my free time. Like, people like go out and do things. I need to be home by 7 so I can play my little hour of video games. And this game is super story driven. It's written so beautifully. And so I just shout out to Vox, all my people at Vox, and also to everybody at Thirsty Suitors. That game November 2nd, so it'll be out soon and everybody can play. It's on Switch, Xbox, Steam, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5.
Okay.
All right. Looking forward to it. And Danielle, I may have heard about a particular film you also have coming out towards the end of this year, or premiering towards the end of this year, Sam and Kiki.
That's right. And Nigeria is going to be coming on the Sam and Kiki team as well for some publicity stuff, which is so exciting. But yeah, Sam and Kiki is a horror mystery comedy film that we shot back in 2021. And it's going to be premiering at Screenfest LA in October.
Hey.
Very exciting. I play Sam. And it's about two best friends taking a weekend off of grad school on their way to an Airbnb. Do they get lost in the woods? I don't know what happens. So it's a really fun. It's a really, really fun. It's based on true events, and it's a really fun character-driven story about these two best friends, and they're hoping to make it into a feature as well, and really dig into the friendship of these two women. And that was actually. That process started when I was at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2021 for my other short film, Liza Anonymous. And the team of Sam and Kiki saw me in Liza Anonymous and then contacted me a month later about the role. And then we shot it a month after that. So it's just work begets work begets work. And speaking of Liza Anonymous, we are almost finished with the feature script, and we are hoping to get that up for production in the next year at some point. So I'll be playing Liza again. The script is written by Leah McKendrick and Kelly Walker, and more on that soon. So very, very excited about that.
Amazing news. Congratulations, you three, and a year of successful things to come and release. And that brings me now to Amy, because we have to ask you the biggest question. And when it comes to short films, there's a couple of options here. Was this a passion project that you just wanted to get done and it's done? You hit the award, you hit the film festival circuit, win some awards, and then you say, I did what I wanted to do. Or are you looking to go feature-length film? Are you looking to go series? Are you looking to go prequel? Are you looking to go sequel? Are you looking to extend it both ways? What's happening with the future of Tiki Bar Funeral Home?
Great question. I don't like to make shorts either for just say like we're done here, right? Like it's a great calling card. It's a great way to get out there. It's a great way to keep going. Like I do want to keep making short films like as long as I have to, if I need to give myself the permission. Tiki Bar Funeral Home, as of right now, there is a pilot written that is inspired by these characters and a little bit of the situation. It's not a carbon, copy of what you see in the short film, at least where it's gone now. That script just got accepted into the Essay and Laughter Lab, which is specifically for comedy that brings awareness to social issues. So in my case, it has to do with addictions in communities, especially in communities that think they look like they're all okay. But television is a weird place right now. Like it's definitely, we're at a crossroads with like, what is the future of TV going to mean? I am working extensively on the pitch for the series. And I recently also think that there is a feature film in here that would be kind of back to that reunion idea. Romy and Michelle-esque, of course, since that's like also a huge touch point for me.
That's a comedy. That's a comedy comp. Good job.
That's a comedy comp. Yes. But if you watch Peggy Sue Got Married, you might find it a comedy. It's definitely very strange. But anyways, yeah. So I'm the type of person though, like if you give me an idea and a story to run with, I will find the mediums and the formats to tell it every which way. I'll tell you how I can make this a podcast. I'll tell you how I can make it a series. I'll tell you how I can make it a feature film. You don't like the series version that I have dreamt up right now is episodic and serialized. So every single episode you need to watch in order to stay with the story. But hey, you want to do one that's anthology about all the different funerals that come through this funeral home? Ooh. Sure, we can do that too. Right. So like I am just about like figuring out multiple ways to tell a story so that I'm ready to go when I find the person that wants to partner with me to do that. So that's kind of where it's at right now.
Okay, I love the ideas. I'm just going to go ahead and throw my suggestion in there is make sure we get some form of conclusion with Damon and Adrianna, and then I need the backstory of the friendship between Rene and Adrianna. I need to know what's up with the Jens and how they got to be the way they are amongst the other characters. And yeah, so you owe at least this fan base that have seen this a level of due diligence in terms of what's the rest of this story here, because it's so compelling.
I'd love to hear that.
Will and Danielle, you two are instantly fantastic in this. There's a lot of questions. You know, the synopsis lets us know there's a past there, and I gotta say, Damon was giving me all of my vibes. Where it's like, I'm not going to make this obvious, but if you know, type of thing. Like you can sense a little bit of odd tension there, but like obviously. To the end, even sitting outside on the wall of the building, you know, that the comfort zone, that safe zone. I think that speaks a lot too, to let folks know that, like, yeah, no matter whatever you thought may be the issue, I think they still found a bit of comfort in one another throughout all of the different triggers that could have been inside, the grieving that was inside. There's a lot, and then the Bone Thugs that was inside too, you know. So a lot of different things going on. And Christine, I want to definitely give you a shout out to Rene, who I have to say feels like a potential exaggerated version of yourself. There's a lot of reasons why I need to hang with Rene. Rene being the one to kind of give Adrianna the nut at times and cracking the jokes. There's just so many really good scenes that, like, I feel like all of these characters, you just find a sense of like, I need to know more of. And Amy, that's a testament to what you was able to put together here. And beyond premiering at DWF, now where can folks get an opportunity to check this out?
That's a great question. We are waiting to hear back from a number of festivals, but our next festival that we currently are aware of is the No Coast Film Festival in Kansas. It'll be our Midwest premiere. No Coast is a darling little budding festival. This will be their 6th year, I believe, and they're really cultivating a good community of all short filmmakers. So it is a short film fest, but I'm excited for it. I've never been to the middle of Kansas before, so might be a good excuse to go check out the country.
Well, there it is. Amy, Christine, Danielle, Will, thank you so much for your time today. This was a fantastic hangout. Can't call it an interview because we definitely just kicked it for a while here. Learned so much about the film, learned so much about you all, learned so much about the culture of the set that you all create. And folks, now it's time for you to go and find Tiki Bar Funeral Home. As she said, it will be premiering at more film festivals to come. The website in the description below. You keep up with all the news. Everybody's social medias is on the description below. Keep up with everybody's upcoming projects. And for myself, we're going to be up out of here because we just hit our hour mark. So thank you so much for tuning in for this interview, folks. And we'll see you back very soon for more content. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nigeria.